This is your weekend inking with okay. I am inking Sanderson Step Sisters issue 14 for this episode, and thanks for stopping in and checking this out. Fun fact: I have spent an entire year's worth of time on this comic. It takes me like a month, maybe 2 months now, to get a comic done, and there are 14 issues in this series. So I was doing the math, and it's more than a year. I don't know how many months that is, but it's more than a year. So anyways, you might notice my voice is a little deep. If you want to follow along with what I'm going to be talking about in this video, I've done a journal entry over on my DeviantArt called Sick Week. That's right. I've been sick, terribly sick this week. If you've noticed, my voice is a lot lower, a little bit sexier, and it happens when I get really sick like this. The first day I sounded like a Gregorian monk chanting. So yeah. This is my little outline. We're going to talk about Sanderson Step Sisters 14. There's a new comic out on the gallery. It is a side story for Windy Wonka, and it involves a pig transformation with a willing participant. So if you'd like to check that out, it is free to view on the public gallery. Hop on over to my gallery using the link in the video's description below. Otherwise, I'm going to get to inking, and we will talk a little bit about what's going on. Alright, so if you would like to check out this awesome idea I had while I was sick and confined to bed. I couldn't get out of bed because I was so sick and just like was pretty much in the hospital. So I was trying to brainstorm for ideas on my Patreon. I've do a reward drawing every month for patrons. They get to vote on what they want to see, and it's been an ABDL, or like a diaper lover kind of themed reward drawing every week. Every month. So in order to appeal to expansion fans and to also reward them who would prefer seeing something expansion or transformation related, I'm trying to figure out a new way to do my Patreon in order to reward those fans and to build a more dynamic Patreon page. Something that rewards every interest. That was something I was worried about starting out with, and it turns out I had a justifiable concern. So I've been thinking about this idea, which is called a request contest. So basically, what's going to happen is all you have to do is 3 things. It's a really simple contest for anyone. It's going to be like a pledge a certain amount, like $2 to $20 ish. I haven't figured out the prices exactly, but you pledge. You choose one of 2 categories. You can choose a expansion transformation category, or you can choose a diaper regression kind of category. I've just drawn a line down the middle and said you can be on this side or this side, and all you do is send me a request for what you want drawn, and I will sketch it. And after I sketch it, I put it in this poll. So there's going to be a poll where all these sketches are, and depending on how many there are, I'm thinking there might be like 5 or 6 sketches in each category. So you would vote for the sketch that you want, and you want to see turned into a real drawing. And the sketch that gets the most votes, and you can vote for yourself, of course, the sketch that gets the most votes gets turned into a drawing. I'm sorry. Ooh. So I had walking pneumonia. That is terrible. My throat has never been so sore. I'm going to try to get out of this a little bit quick. So I might just finish this this figure right here, who is Astrid. She is the main witch, and I'm going to leave it a mystery as to what's happening to her right here. But yeah, so that is the main idea with Patreon. And if you want to check out the flyer I've created to try to get some feedback on the idea, then head on to my Patreon page. You can look at this flyer and give me feedback without having to be a patron. You can just view it for free and that kind of thing. So it's not anything that's just for patrons. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was Sanderson Step Sisters 14 might be a few days late because I have been sick the entire week and just unable to even sketch or pencil, and that's going to be putting me a few days behind. I usually give myself like 1 or 2 days of like sick days to kind of compensate for any days that I might not be able to work, but a whole week I've missed is not something I've accounted for. So it's going to be a few days difference. So just be tuned in to the DeviantArt page for an announcement probably this coming week about when it will be finished. I've seen some interesting Netflix movies recently and wanted to suggest Hell or High Water if you have Netflix and want to watch a good movie. I thought that movie was awesome, and it had a really clever dialogue. It was Chris Pines and the Big Lebowski guy, Jeff Bridges, and another guy who, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he's also in 3:10 to Yuma, and he's an amazing actor. I'm surprised that he's not like a household name because he's a really good actor, but he's also in Pandorum. This guy does a really good job. They all do an amazing job, and the movie's good. It got a really high score on Rotten Tomatoes, so I was interested to see it, and it was a very well-deserved high score. I also watched Velvet Buzzsaw, and I wanted to talk about it just for a second. It's a Netflix movie. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but it involves an art gallery, like an art critique person, and art galleries. It's in the art world, and this artist whose paintings are like evil or something, and this artist was evil, painted with some blood, and I don't know what all. I still don't quite understand the whole concept of why the paintings were evil, and was it him or was it his paintings? It was a little not great, but the performances of the actors and actresses were amazing. The whole story was not so great, but the directing was amazing, which is very similar to other Netflix movies. I'm seeing a pattern with Netflix movies that the ending falls apart or disappoints. Sometimes I'm yelling at the TV like, "Oh, screw you, movie," by the end of the movie, because I hated it the way it ends, and I felt like it just wasted my 2 hours. But the funny thing is, like, they're enjoyable movies to be sitting through, and then you get to the end, and it's like, screw you. It feels kind of like a Last Jedi kind of thing going on to me. But Velvet Buzzsaw is very similar in nature. You get to the ending of Velvet Buzzsaw, and it's the weakest death of all, and you're like, give me a break. But I'm not going to spoil it for you, but they missed out on a huge opportunity. They should have just made the whole entire movie about the hobo robot. Call the movie Hobo Robo or something, I don't know. But that was the only scary part of the entire movie, was that freaking hobo robot. Because, wow, that little scene where he is coming after Jake Gyllenhaal, dang, scary. And think about it, how many other robot horror movies have you seen? There aren't any out there. there is like Terminator, but that's an action movie. There's Ex Machina, but that's more of like a psychological thriller. So where is the artificial intelligence horror movie? That's what I'm wondering. And why did they not think that would make a better movie? They could have made the artist that created the hobo robot, he could have been the bad guy in this horror movie easily. But no, they decided not to go with um, an artist guy who did paintings with blood or something, and his parents beat him or something. So, anyways, they missed a huge opportunity to do an awesome movie about an super scary robot. Anyways, if you've seen that movie, tell me what you would think. Would that have been an awesome movie? Maybe they can still do it. I'm sure that robot is still out there somewhere, haunting people and staring at them with those dead eyes. So watch out. That could be another movie. I would love to see that movie. Okay, so one other thing I saw on Netflix was Ray Romano's comedy special. I thought that was awesome. So it's about like getting old and also being married and having a family and kids, I think, and masturbating. So if you think that you would enjoy that kind of talk, definitely watch Ray Romano's comedy special because it's great. I think that's about all I have to talk about today. Sorry I'm kind of spending more time talking than drawing, but let me do a little bit of work here. Astrid always has these 3 strands of like knife blade hair things coming out, which reminds me of another movie I watched, The Girl in the Spider's Web, the sequel to, what's that movie? The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And it's not really a movie I would recommend because it definitely suffers from sequel mentality. The Girl in the Spider's Web is very much of a sequel. There's nothing creative, and there's a lot of eye rolling I did through it. I love the main character, and that was about it. It had kind of an exciting ending, but nothing creative and original about it. Alright, so this is the character finished, and thank you for watching. Go ahead and check out some movies on Netflix. Tell me what movies you're watching and if they're good or not. I might talk about Annihilation next time because that movie was on Amazon Prime, and I loved the last 20 minutes of Annihilation. Okay, yeah, I've got an ice cream cone waiting for me. So if you hear that, I'm gonna go. So I'm okay. Be sure to drop by my gallery, and I will see you next week.